So I'm just gonna jump into it, guys. So first thing that's been like top of mind for us, we've been paying attention to is streaming, particularly Twitch. Some big news that came out since our last culture chat is that Justin Bieber made his Twitch debut. He's promising to go live almost every day. Um, so we'll see how that goes. Um, but it seems to be like he's headlining Coachella in 2026. So this is like him ramping that up. And the point of it is to give his audience, his super fans, a behind the scenes look and like how his Coachella performance is coming together. Um, so yeah, so far he's played basketball, he skateboarded, and he gave a behind the scenes tour of his soundstage and studio. So I'd love to see what you guys think. I feel like this is the first time a major celebrity, has like launched their own channel and not just been like a guest on another Twitch streamer's live.
Yeah, I would agree with that as far as I can remember. But I also think this is reminding me of the era when had celebrities getting on YouTube and launching their channels. And I feel like it's kind of like a sign both of like Twitch's maturity and also that Gen Z is kind of the next, these are like Gen Z stars who are trying to find new ways to reach the youths.
So, Megan, do you think it's like only a matter of time before more like A-listers are starting Twitch channels of their own, or
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I think Justin is a bit of a interesting case. Like I'm a bit surprised he's doing it, and it's a little bit unexpected. Um, Mostly because I think he's got a lot of talent and he's a little bit of a prickly personality. And so to me, that doesn't bode well for like streaming necessarily. But for celebs who like maybe need to lean less on their like God-given talents and more on their charm and personality and ability to create community, I think that going the Twitch route is definitely smart.
I have a question. I am not a consumer of Twitch, and I'm just curious, like, if like what is happening on there? Like, if you were to summarize it, like, what are most creators doing? How often are they going live? And like, what is it that they're showing? Is it primarily behind the scenes and sort of just day to day? Is it more like presentation style, like tuning into a planned broadcast? Like, what's happening on Twitch?
All of it, I would say. Some of the like, I think at the most basic, it's kind of just people who have an office set up, kind of like what we're doing, but they do that all day long. And I think the main thing about Twitch is that you're interacting with chat. So you have like a live feed of people who can talk to you and you talk to them. And that kind of takes on a life and a personality of its own. So different Twitch streamers have different levels of interaction with their chat and like do different things and kind of host different kind of hangouts. But I would say that is the biggest thing. It's like you're hanging out with this streamer as they do whatever. And for some, that is as simple as like sitting. There's this one political streamer, Hassan Piker, who just essentially like watches the internet and gives his political commentary. There's also people who do like baking and cooking and playing video games. So it really just depends. But I think the main thing that they're giving is a place to hang out and do it, watch someone do an activity and chat, I feel like is the big differentiator.
I think it's really interesting that he would decide to launch a new channel. It's like it's just interesting. To your point, Megan, like surprising. Like obviously a number of platforms, here we are on Substack doing this, but like are trying to get the live functionality going for, I don't know, this type of experience. And I wonder like what it does mean for like leading up to Coachella. Like why do this?
I also think it's interesting too because YouTube has the Coachella Live rights and does that whole thing. So it's interesting because it's like theoretically Justin is going to be sharing on Twitch. And then at a certain point, there's going to be like someone who's going to be like, you can't stream this on Twitch, YouTube,
Yeah.
you're going to get sued, you know? So like, how does that work? Like, does he direct people over? Just is it Twitch like low key seeing, is there a market for people interested in this type of thing? So I think that's interesting. I honestly don't think Justin is thinking about it that strategically. I think he's
Yeah.
like trying to keep up with his wife, Haley, and all that she's got going on. and, and she's like, hey, Justin, you should do something. Like, and he's like, well, I like Twitch. Maybe I'll try that.
Okay, my last question on this is like, what do you think about brands on Twitch? Are there any?
I don't know. I'm to be honest, this is a bit of I'm very high level in the know on Twitch. I don't know about a lot of brands on Twitch. I know like brand sponsorships like that I've seen. And it's more like ambient, where it's like they're drinking the soda or it's like they've got a mic cover. So but I've seen less of like straight hardcore, like this is sponsored by this person. There are ads that you can run. So like the streamers
Yeah.
can like they have ad breaks and some of them were like I don't know if this is still the case, but some of them were obligated to run a certain number of ad breaks like in their Twitch exclusivity contracts, but a lot of those are up recently. So I don't know how the ad businesses have like what that is like right now.
I'm like, I feel like it's only a matter of time before like Disney has a Twitch channel or something like that. Seeing how, Substack was emergent in the way that Twitch is, and we have like Rare Beauty, The Real, Hinge have started migrating over. And I think with like corporate influencers and like employee influencers rising, I wouldn't be surprised if like similar to like how like Vox has like a million podcasts. Like, do they extend to Twitch streams that people can like tune in with their journalists and hosts?
Yeah. I mean, if I were, and obviously, again, I am not consuming on Twitch, but if hearing about the functionality and to Emma's point, this idea of like employee creators as this whole sort of movement and type of creator. I mean, if you are a brand that is a media company and you're able to sort of give a peek behind the scenes, showing like the making of a broadcast, like I even think like, ABC with like Dancing with the Stars. Like you could totally have a Twitch stream going with an employee creator that's like running it, giving a sense of what's happening behind the scenes. That completely would like complement and supplement the on-air experience. And also Alex Earl's perspective and what she's putting out into the world on her social channels. So I feel like that would be a really interesting and additive kind of experience. But again, there's also the danger of like diluting viewership. But yeah, I agree. I think it's an interesting time for live streaming content. And it's so weird because it's been around for a while, but it's like what's old is new again.
Yeah. And similarly, so we were talking about Twitch and like creators. Netflix is investing in live streaming as well. They dipped their toes a couple years ago with Love is Blind reunion, I believe, and it didn't go well. I remember watching it live and it was not a fun live experience. There were a lot of glitches. But they're powering through and they've just partner inked a 10-year deal with WWE. So every Wednesday there's WrestleMania live on Netflix, and they've also partnered with NASA to stream rocket launches and like astronaut spacewalks and all of that. So yeah, and now just this week, their chief tech officer just said they're doing more interactive real-time voting in polls with their live content too. So wondering, like, they've obviously mastered the like on demand video. Is this just like the next frontier to get into live streaming?
Well, I also think something to consider here is kind of Netflix is at an interesting place business wise where they've kind of plateaued in terms of subscribers. So that's why they keep raising the prices because they just need to continue growing, but there's not a lot of room left to grow. So they're exploring ad tiers and like an ad supported business. And one of the things that if you guys have been watching, Nobody Wants This, people have pointed out is there's a lot of product placement in that because, that's something that Netflix is saying that they're going to do more of it, like advertise with us and it'll be less of like we're going to cut to commercial and more of the characters are really loving Regenerist eye lift, Olay eye lift, or whatever it was. So I think Netflix is looking at, okay, well, what if you're looking at the ads business right now and trying to figure out what to do there? Live sports are the biggest area where you're getting huge crowds. And so I think that's part of what Netflix is looking to do with this like expansion into live is figure out how they can scale their ad supported business.
I love that take. I mean, I think that that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, it's not surprising when you look at other streaming platforms, right? Like, obviously, like, there's live programming that is happening. And it's just, I don't think it will be surprising at all to audiences. Like, I think that it'll just be like, I'm a fan of this franchise. Like, where can I watch it live? I think this note that you have in here, Emma, also of like, it's going to carry the NASA Plus streams of rockets, astronaut spacewalks, and live views from the International Space Station. That's interesting. Like, is that content that has been anywhere else, do we know? Or is this just sort of like a whole new type of channel of content?
So, in my research and prep for this call, they have NASA Plus where you can stream NASA content, but I really don't think it was hitting. They weren't getting the reach and like viewers because I've never heard of NASA Plus. I didn't even know you could do that. So I think Netflix, oh, you lost Megan. She'll hop back. But I think Netflix puts them in front of audiences in a way their own platform just wasn't.
Got it. So this is sort of a way, this will be an interesting experience to see how they might grow. It makes sense for NASA Plus. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. And I just think and stay tuned. We have Netflix content coming up on our main Substack, but I think they're just really smart. I mean, they've been investing in a lot of content creators. Ted Sarandos, their co-CEO, referred to YouTube as a farm league, which I thought was so interesting. So yeah, I just think they're like really ahead and forward thinking. And before we hopped on, oh, here's Megan. Hi,
Hi.
Megan. Oh, all good, all good. I wanted to talk about your point about K-pop Demon Hunters. We talked about it a bit last week in last week's
Mhm.
but it's still dominating the zeitgeist. So tell us the latest on that.
Yeah. So right now, there's a piece that everyone's talking about in the Wall Street Journal about how Netflix did not predict the success of K-pop Demon Hunters, and so they were kind of caught on their back foot when it comes to having merch and costumes ready. And we had talked about the Frightgeist last week and how K-pop Demon Hunters was dominating that. And given this and the news and what I've seen online of like parents ordering purple braiding hair from Amazon to make the Rumi braid, I think that part of the reason why Netflix was so popular in the Frightgeist is because the costumes were not available in stores. Parents then had to go online to find them, then driving up the search results for this costume and making it seem like it was even more popular than it was just because the lack of it existing. So people had to seek it out more. And so if you see any K-pop Demon Hunter Rumi costumes, just know that a lot of moms did a lot of thinking and hard work to make that happen this year. But in general, I think this speaks to kind of like Netflix's strategy of kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks, and then, okay, we're running with that. And this is a situation where that failed because they weren't able to get the products out in time. And I saw in the comment section of the Wall Street Journal, parents are saying they better get it together for Christmas because that's all my kid wants. And so I think this is interesting that kind of this is like, a good problem to have in that people are like, take my money. But on the other hand, because they didn't anticipate it would be such a hit with kids that they'd want to like, this would be the next big franchise. That's also like they're leaving a lot of money on the table going into the holiday season.
That's so interesting. I'm also so curious, like how much Amazon alone made from K-pop is making.
Yeah.
from K-pop Demon Hunter stuff. I mean, even just like the stat of like people overnighting it
Yeah.
would be interesting. Um, Again, we were able to get it pretty quickly. See, I actually think like the timing wise was so smart for when did it come out? Do we know?
I think in the
In the
first,
summer.
or was it late summer, maybe?
It was in the summer. Yeah. Because they were doing screenings in August and the theaters after it had already blown up.
I know it's interesting because like
So do you
what if
have an official costume? Where'd you get it?
we were able to get a Mira costume from Amazon in a completely rational time frame. And it was pretty straightforward. No, and I know that there's like a lot of people who were sprinting around trying to find find them. Also, we weren't looking for Rumi, which I know is the sort of she's like the the one that most people want. But Mira was pretty straightforward and easy. I mean, also I was at Spirit Halloween store. They were sold out of most of them. They had a bunch of Zoe costumes, who's the third one. So I don't know. I in my local WhatsApp of like moms and dads in the local area here, it's kind of funny. There was a lot of people who were messaging around saying that like, oh, I ordered like a whole separate costume and it actually came in. Does anybody want it in a size 8? Like I have the shoes for, Zoe. Like, does anybody want that? So it's sort of funny how there was like community sharing that was happening specifically around this. And then the other thing that we've like talked about doing is the kids have a Halloween parade at school on Friday and they were going to gather all of the K-pop kids. Like it's going to be like half the school.
Cute.
Love
We
that
actually
the idea of like a K-pop section.
there's a whole K-pop section. And then this like family, I mean, it actually is a pretty good family costume too because of the Soja boys as well. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but there was a family. We went to a Halloween party on Saturday, and this family, like every single, like the dad had it, the mother and 2 daughters, like they were all dressed up. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with K-pop from now. Um, and also what happens with like the 3 singers, right? Like, aren't they known as like Huntrix? Like that's actually like they're like a group. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did they exist as a group beforehand?
Oh, I am like actually very tapped into this because I just listened to a podcast episode. When we post this, I will hyperlink it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they originally were just going to be like the cartoon K-pop. Netflix didn't expect it to blow up, but since it's blown up, they're now an actual IRL K-pop group. And what's so interesting is all 3 of the women were failed K-pop idols. They were in these, like K-pop schools that they have, and none of them made it to a group. So one of them, I think the main one, I'm forgetting the woman's name. She wrote the songs. She became a songwriter and she wrote all the music for this. And they pretty much were like, okay, like you sang the demo. It was great. This is just like an animated movie. Why don't you just be one of the girls? Like, why don't you just be the singer? And now she's in her 30s and she's like a huge K-pop star now. And what is interesting is the 3 women who are the singers are not the voice actors who do like the dialogue.
They're not. Oh,
They're
that's a fun fact.
Yeah.
Melissa, I'm curious. Your daughter's into K-pop Demon Hunters, right?
Yeah.
Has that led to a broader interest in K-pop in general, or just specifically that movie?
That's a great question. It hasn't yet. It's specifically that movie right now. I think it's the songs and whatnot. That being said, it's interesting because, I mean, obviously it's like this fake group, right? And then there's also the Soja Boys, and they're a group in the show. Anything that they do with those groups, though, I know, like, my kids, I have a son who is 7, like, they're going to be tracking them, So, like, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Like, obviously, I'm assuming there'll be follow-up movies. Um, there could totally be a series. There could also be, um, concerts with them. Like, those guys can totally go on tour, and it would be a huge hit. Um, and it's just interesting, like, I don't know if we've ever seen anything like this before, right? Like, where a f it's like a made up group. It's like an AI group. No,
Yeah.
they're not, you know? Uh Ooh, I think we have a comment here. Oh, yeah, my daughter thinks hi, Lisa. My daughter thinks K-pop equals K-pop Demon Hunters. We have tried a few ways to explain it. It hasn't landed. Lots of confusion around Happy Meal toys and how. Yes. No, 100%. I know. I think, and it's interesting. I don't know if you feel this way too, Lisa, but like my kids think that the characters are real somewhat too. That Rumi is a real person and that Mira is a real person, but they're not. And it's hard to explain that there's actually like a singer that sort of is like represented by that character in like likeness, but they're not the actual people. I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know. It'll be interesting, like, Megan, as we've talked about too, with like our when it relates to like creators and having sort of like a what do you say, like the type of relationship that people have?
Parasocial. Yeah.
Parasocial. Um, it'll be interesting, like a whole new type of relationship with these like
Yeah.
fake characters and fandom and real people and like this conversion. I don't know. But I mean, if any generation is ready for it, it's Generation Alpha.
Yeah. And I also think this will be it, like, kind of, this is going to be the first passing of the torch moment where you're seeing from like Gen Z to Gen Alpha of like Lisa said, I also hang out with a 7-year-old who loves K-pop Demon Hunters. And I was like, oh, have you heard of Blackpink? And she was like, no, what's that? And I showed her Blackpink and she was like, this sounds like K-pop Demon Hunters. I like it. And I was like, you just like K-pop, like in general, like you just like K-pop. So like, I'm going to show her more K-pop. And so I think we're going to see this happen now for this generation of Gen Alpha who has discovered K-pop through this one franchise. Now there's going to be a cross-cultural exchange of, okay, now you're just into K-pop and you like that.
You know what? It's interesting. I totally agree with you. I think it's going to become K-pop is more of a global thing.
And even like older sisters, younger sisters, like where it's like, okay, you're into K-pop now. Cool. Now this is something that we can do together. So,
yeah. I mean, I also cannot emphasize enough how smart it was that they had the Soja Boys in it as well, because I feel like it also appeals to like boys as well. Like
the four quadrant movie. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I feel like is prime for this, and I'm like curious if someone is sitting thinking about this, but is Bollywood. Like, I feel like Bollywood is like, hey,
The thing is, they don't need us. Like, they're so big on their own. Like, I feel like we, to like have to
like, who
cater to
cares?
their market. Like, they're like, you guys have Priyanka Chopra, and that's all you need.
Yeah, you're like, they're good.
No, literally, we're trying to get, no, we need them more than they need.
We need them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, thank you guys. We're at time, and we'll keep tracking the K-pop story, and we'll keep an eye out for Bollywood. Good call.
I'm telling you, Emma, if you can find stats around how much Amazon is making, like, bring it to this conversation, because
I'll do.
I mean, it's just so fascinating, like the timeline and like, the lack of costumes, like, again, and everyone is so primed, Amazon Prime, but primed to go to Amazon that it's like this like crazy convergence.
Yeah, we'll have to like recap that next week. So you guys, thank you so much. We'll be posting this, so you can watch it on demand, come back to it, and if you missed it. But yeah, we'll be live again next Wednesday, so hope to see you then.
Yay! Send
Bye.
questions in the meantime.
Send us questions and things you'd like us to talk about. Okay,
All
bye,
right.
guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.